had taken a shower and I was packing and getting ready. We were supposed to go on a ski trip up north, northern Japan, actually right around the place where the earthquake hit, the center of it. That trip has obviously been canceled, but that's what I was doing during the day. When it hit, I actually didn't realize it at first. We had an earthquake about 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. Now I'm losing track, but it wasn't that. It was a sizable earthquake, but the shaking wasn't really intense. It was more of like a swing motion, and so I think because of that, I wasn't really, too freaked out by it. I went to the closet, which is the closest doorway away from windows. But I very quickly realized how intense it was. I heard something drop in the bathroom. I assumed it was a shampoo bottle, and I hung up laundry, and I assumed it was that. But it wasn't long before the doors started banging up against the shower. I was having trouble standing up straight, and I had to make a split-second decision. Do I stay here, and is it safe to stay here? Or is it better just to make a dash for it? I'm on the 6th floor of a big brick building. And when I heard something crash down the hallway in the living room is when I knew that was when I needed to go. This was almost like I was on a boat in the ocean, or I was on a roller coaster. It was the kind of earthquake where I was being jostled around. I have a long, narrow hallway down to the front of my apartment, and I was holding onto the wall as I was walking. And it was, I can't think back to the thoughts that are going through my mind. I know very clearly at one point I thought this could be it. I mean, we've been waiting for the big one for a long time, and it's always, people are always joking about it, but when it comes to it, it's not a joke at all. So I was drying my hair when it happened, and I ran out of the apartment in my, just in my stocking feet. I remember seeing my flip-flops at the front door, and I couldn't get them on my feet because I had socks on, and I was just thinking, like, whatever, I'm going to save, 5 seconds, and I have something in this hand, which turned out to be a really, useless item. So I ran out in my, basically bare feet down 6 flights of stairs. And people, there's apartments on my floor, on the 6th floor of my building, and then the other floors are, it's office spaces. A major international insurance firm is one of the occupies that building, most of it. And so I ran out, and everybody was evacuating through the staircase, and I got to the street. People were crying. I mean, women were huddled up. Basically confusion. I was alone. I didn't have anybody to kind of talk to at first, and I had these people who were English speakers that kind of took me to their wing, and I sort of latched onto their group for a while to try to just, I don't know if there was advice that their superiors had for them. The problem was nobody really knew what to do, and there were kind of 2 people in charge with this group of employees, and they were both saying different things. This is all going on in Japanese, and I can understand a lot of Japanese, but not like the panicked Japanese that's happening when an earthquake has just happened. And this is in the middle of when the earthquake is still shaking. When I got to the street, it was, it felt like I was on a boat. That feeling when you just get off the boat and you have sort of your sea legs still? That's how it felt, but it was actually the real sensation. I've never actually had that happen when I've stood outside. I've never felt an earthquake. And I've been here for 3.5 years, and I've been through some sizable ones, but nothing like this. 2 little kids are running home from school with their backpacks, and they said something in Japanese along the lines of, of course, it's a big earthquake. It's the big earthquake, the big one. And I hope they didn't have far to go. People were stopped in the street, car stopped, and traffic kept moving. I was kind of expecting, because we see these videos of what it's supposed to be like, what's going to happen when the big earthquake hits. And, but in general, looking around me, buildings, nothing had fallen off of buildings. There were some cracks and things, like in the stairway, there was some of the plaster from the walls had fallen. But generally, things were okay. I think we're having an aftershock right now, actually, while I'm talking to you. That's the problem. There is, right now, walking through Tokyo. So I walked, my boyfriend met me at our apartment, or near my apartment. I was able actually to go in for just 2 minutes to grab a bag and then come right back out. It wasn't really safe. We can't use elevators. So he walked home and met me, sort of in a park area, and then we walked 2 miles through Tokyo to his boss's place, where a lot of people are kind of hunkered down right now. buildings aren't down in Tokyo. At least there are some. We've seen videos, but the stuff that I've walked through, I haven't seen any structural damage other than like a retaining wall and things like that. There are some parts though. When we walked through, there were some parts that were roped off that you weren't supposed to walk by, and I'm not sure if if structures have been compromised or they're still trying to figure out if buildings are okay or not. I know in my building they were advising people to stay out because they were checking out some major cracks and stuff like that. But as far as it doesn't have the appearance of an earthquake just happened, other than people are stopped in the street. Cars are bumper to bumper and people are walking. I mean, it's really kind of an eerie feeling because walking in Tokyo and being on a subway in Tokyo, everybody's very, very calm and very sober, and they kind of pretty stoic in times like this, and it's a kind of amazing the order that exists. I mean, people still don't really know entirely what to do, or where they still have questions like, are we supposed to go in buildings, or where are we supposed to go for evacuation? But people aren't panicked in the street, really. I mean, I've seen some people trying to rush to places and pushing a little bit and shoving, but it doesn't. It's Tokyo for you, I guess. People are still civil when there's an emergency. The aftershocks were as big as any other earthquake that I've felt previous to this. Standalone earthquakes. They kept happening, and I think they're still happening. My friend quoted about 40. Did we just have one?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I said I felt like we were having aftershock, we were having an aftershock. I think it's probably up to 40. Most of them, I mean, as we were standing in the street, when I evacuated the building, I stood out there for about maybe 20 minutes, half hour, and then another kind of big one came. Actually, the workers kind of started to file back into the building because one of the bosses had said, of this company had said, oh, it's okay to go back to work. But they came out right away because it started shaking again. And not as bad as the first one, but every aftershock I felt is probably bigger than, or at least, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm sensing it now and I'm really hyper aware of it. But it has that sort of, the sea is moving underneath me kind of a feeling. And we are still having them. I think it's up to, I don't know, between 30 and 40. My friend he's like, charting them right now. But it is very disconcerting. And as I was standing in the street, I mean, it's really scary. We kept having aftershocks for several minutes. And that's when we actually went, after we evacuated the building, to the designated evacuation zone. Every neighborhood has it, and everybody's supposed to know where theirs is. I actually didn't know where mine was because I just moved into a new apartment, this place 2 weeks ago. So not only did I not have an earthquake kit set up or, a evacuation plan or anything, I didn't know where I was supposed to go. So understandably, I was pretty panicked. And I found out that most people don't know where they're supposed to go. I would say the mood here, I'm hanging out in this apartment with about, I don't know, 10 or 11 people now. We keep getting more showing up. I'm at my boyfriend's boss's apartment. There is, I mean, people are stuck. I think people are maybe more frustrated and the lack of kind of knowing what's going on. We've had, officials coming out of the Japanese. We don't get a Japanese news station in this apartment, which is kind of frustrating. But I think I don't know. We're all kind of in shock because we've been talking about this for a long time. I know that some people can't go home to their apartments because there's broken glass everywhere, like wine glasses have fallen and windows are broken and stuff like that. So my boyfriend's boss is actually putting some people up here for the night. He has a couple extra bedrooms, which is not a typical Tokyo apartment. So it is my boyfriend's boss.